President Zelensky denied the call to strike against Russia and claimed that an earlier remark had been misinterpreted. "You must use preemptive strikes," he said, referring to sanctions, not attacks. In recent weeks, the Ukrainian army has recaptured large areas of territory in a successful counter-offensive, forcing Russian forces to abandon their long-held positions. According to Kyiv, President Vladimir Putin unified 4 partially occupied Ukrainian regions in response to Moscow's losses. Widely regarded as illegal, the alliances raised fears of a possible escalation during the 7-month war. President Putin and other senior Russian officials have suggested that nuclear weapons, perhaps smaller tactical weapons, could be used to defend those areas, although Western officials say there is no evidence that Moscow is ready. President Zelensky said in English in the office of the President of Kyiv, "They will prepare their society. It is very dangerous. They are not ready to do it, to use it. But they start to communicate. They don't know if they will use it or not. I think it's dangerous to even talk about it." Then, through an interpreter, he said in Ukrainian, "We see that the powerful people in Russia like life, and that's why I think the danger of using a nuclear weapon it is not as clear as some experts say, because they understand that after using it, it is not possible to return not only to the history of our country, but also to ourselves as personalities." However, he denied the call to attack Russia during an online event. Thursday, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov condemned the initial comment as a call to start a new world war, while Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said it showed why Russia has the right to start. After this turn, President Zelensky said, The Russians made their way, as it was useful to them, and began it again in others to turn in directions." The interview took place for hours. US President Joe Biden said that the Russian use of nuclear weapons brought the world closer to Armageddon than at any time since the Cuban Missile Crisis during the Cold War. President Zelensky said that action is needed now because Russia's threats are a risk for the entire planet. He claimed that Moscow had already stepped in by taking over the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Europe's largest nuclear power plant, which President Putin is trying to turn into a Russian asset. About 500 Russian soldiers have been stationed at the plant, he said, although it is still run by Ukrainian workers. "The world can quickly stop the Russian occupiers," said President Zelensky. "The world can apply a package of sanctions in such cases and do everything to make them leave the nuclear power plant." Thanks to advanced weapons provided by the West, Ukraine's military has made significant progress in the east and south, recapturing towns and villages even in areas that the Kremlin says are now part of Russia. President Zelensky said Russian troops are putting up a pretty good fight, but Ukraine has received weapons. "I'm not saying we have enough now, and soldiers are being encouraged to push forward." Russia's military failures, a major embarrassment for President Putin, have sparked unusual criticism of the country's military. Amid the losses, President Putin announced the mobilization of hundreds of thousands of reservists, sparking rare anti-war protests and a mass military exodus in Russia. President Zelensky called on Russians to fight for your bodies, your rights and your souls, saying, "These mobilized children now come with nothing. Without weapons and armor, they are thrown here like cannonballs. If they want to be kebabs, let them be. But if they are still human and think this is their life, then they have to fight."